What up, Homedawgs? My name is Gokey Gamer, coach of the Milwaukee Medichams, and welcome to week 2 of the Milwaukee Draft League, where this week we're going to be taking on Coach Bandito, coach of the New Orleans Swampbirds. If I remember correctly, I'll put it up here if I misremembered that. But yes, I also could have done that intro better, but screw it, I'm not re-recording it. Because this first half of this video is going to be post-com, unfortunately. Now, the reason this is going to be post-com is because of the fact that I didn't realize I was recording my microphone until halfway through the battle. That being said, you guys will be getting live commentary in the second half of the battle, but for the first half, unfortunately, there will be no commentary. So I'm doing post-commentary, bada bing, bada boom, and all that fun stuff. You can see my opponent's team, you can see the matchup right here. It's a very scary matchup. I'm terrified of the Ditto going crazy. Same thing with, like, the Iron Bundle, the Wiggly, well, not the Wigglytuff, I'm not afraid of the Wigglytuff. I am afraid of Keldeo, I'm afraid of Dragonite, I'm afraid of Ogerpon Cornerstone. There's a lot of really scary threats on my opponent's team, but I do think we have the team to 1v1 everything, and I'm very excited about it. So, without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get started with the battle. We'll go ahead and go into the prep. Also, I am Terra Dragon on HYDRAPPLE and Terra Ghost on Magnezone, while there is Terra Water on the bundle. And that is it. As you can see, my opponent did not bring Ditto, which I was actually very shocked by. We see Dragonite, Iron Bundle, Zapdos, Iron Dread, Slowking, and Ogerpon. Everything does make sense here. I was just expecting the Ditto at over one of these slots. My lead every single time here will be Katy Perry, the Iron Crown. The reason being is because of the fact that basically it stops an Ogerpon Cornerstone lead. This is always going to be my lead if there was an Ogerpon Cornerstone, which obviously there is. So yeah, Booster Speed, Iron Crown, Tachyon Cutter will destroy a fully offensive Ogerpon, which I would expect it to be. I would expect it to be max attack, max speed in this matchup for specifically the, whatchamacallit, the Lycanroc. So we are going to go ahead and see, I'm hoping for that lead, but unfortunately it is a Dragonite lead, which is unfortunate. Now, our booster speed will activate here, which, you know, again, part of the plan. The nice thing about this Pokemon being, like, so fast as it is that this thing can't really set up very safely, which is very nice, and we have ways to revenge it later on in the game. Because we do have Excel Rock on my Lycanroc Dusk with the loaded dice for Rock Blast too, so that way it can avoid statics on Zapdos, which is pretty cool. But yes, anyways, here I just go for Tachyon Cutter just because there's nothing really that I can do against Dragonite, and also I really want to break the multi-scale, which I do manage to do, and I'm very glad about that. However, we are going to see a Dragon Dance, which is terrifying. I'm very scared of this. Yeah, this is terrifying, but thankfully, because of the booster speed, we still have speed. That's the other nice thing about Iron Crown as well. I already said that. But, yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing on my team that can really tank a hit that well from Dragonite as is. So, as much as I really want to save Iron Crown for later in this game, because, honestly, Iron Crown just looks phenomenal in this matchup in general, I decided I'm going to go ahead, let it go down here. We take it down all the way to the red HP, which is very nice. We are going to see a second Dragon Dance. I think the other thing as well, I think there was a chance that I lived an Earthquake from this thing at +1. Unfortunately, at +2, that is very much not likely. I think about switching here. I think about switching into like an Intimidate Mon. I think about switching into a couple other things, but I'm like, you know what? No. I think I'm just going to let this thing go down because I have a very safe switch in my Lycanroc Dusk. I can click Excel Rock for free very easily. So that's kind of the plan there. We should see that coming up here in a second. You know what? I will go ahead and fast forward here. Well, you saw the results. You saw the Katy Perry faded. We will go ahead and see that they do go for an Earthquake here. Does a lot of damage and just straight up knocks me out. Very unfortunate. I did really like Iron Crown in this matchup, like I said, especially against the Ogerpon Cornerstone, but it is what it is. Nothing much we can do about it. This gives me a very free switch into Lycanroc Dusk, though, and I can just click Excel Rock. It's a very safe play, but Extreme Speed will never KO me, even at +2, and I don't want to risk this thing going for any other attack or like a Roost or something like that. This scares this Pokemon out immediately, and I'm a very big fan of that. I do very much like that. We are going to see that they actually decide to swap, which makes sense. I was wondering if they were going to let Dragonite go down. We are going to see Saki Dude come in, which is the Iron Treads. Now, Iron Treads is another matchup that I was pretty scared of. Iron Treads I felt like had a pretty good matchup into my team, and I wasn't very much looking forward to battling it. And now it's here. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna look up and see how much close combat does. Close combat, depending on the spread, can KO at this range. So I'm like, you know what, I think I might risk it. At the very least, I get a crap ton of damage on this. I no longer need my Lycanroc Dusk for Dragonite in the back, because it's so weakened down that nothing is going to really want to switch in. Like, Dragonite can't really switch in safely. So we're going to go ahead and go for Close Combat. Unfortunately, they do live, and they go for an Earthquake. I really wish I was Focus Sash now, but unfortunately, it is what it is. Nothing much we can do about it there. Very, very sad indeed. So, Iron Treads makes up the kill. Now, we are down 2 Pokemon against all my opponent's Pokemon surviving, which is not a great thing to be dealing with. I'm not the biggest fan of that. However, the nice thing about this is I can switch into Crocodile for free here. Intimidate, because of the fact that they revealed Earthquake, that reveals most likely it's physical. Intimidate's going to really come in clutch here, and it's going to do a pretty good chunk of damage. And I can just freely set up my rocks. I think that they're probably going to let this thing go down, as my guess. Or if they opt to switch this out, then I get rocks up for free, basically, is kind of what I'm thinking. So I go ahead and set up my rocks here. I really like setting up my rocks. I think I forget that Crocodile can't outspeed Iron Treads. I think Knockoff might have been the better play here, but it is what it is. We're going to see Valken come in, which is going to be the Zapdos, which actually surprised me. So we're going to go for the rocks here. Bada bing, bada boom. So yes, my opponent now has to deal with rocks on the field. It's very great. It's very awesome. So we're going to see that I can just click Knockoff here, because this Pokemon, you know, Zapdos can't really do much. Aside from a U-turn, which deals 110 HP points of damage, which is pretty scary, I won't lie. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but it is what it is. Crocodile functions very nicely as just like an Intimidate Mon, a knockoff spam user, and being able to set up hazards is going to come in very handy here. We are going to see the Dragonite come in, and it dies. Dragonite is not Heavy Duty Boots. That is a Pokemon off the field. That is a Stealth Rocks kill for Crocodile in his debut battle, in his debut turn even. Picking up a KO against a Dragonite. A very, very massive threat off the board, especially since I lost my Excel Rock user. Very massive for me. We're going to see the bundle come in, and we are going to see that it's Boots. This was massive information for me to learn. Because of the fact that this is Boots, it is not a choice item, or it's not Booster. Both of which I was very scared of in this game. Now, I have a couple options here. I can switch into my Assault Vest Primarina, which is always like a counter to Iron Bundle. Or I can switch into Magnus if I think a Freeze Dry is going to pop off. Now, that being said, I don't think a Freeze Dry is coming out here. I don't, it definitely could, but I think it's safer overall to go into Primarina, especially because of the fact that, if Magnezone gets damaged, it's a lot less useful later on in the game, and I still very much like Magnezone in this matchup, especially when there's a Slowking, there's an Ogerpon, there's a Zapdos. You know, there's a lot of things that Magnezone can still do here. And we are going to see Terra Water as well, which makes sense. We see the Terra is burned on the Iron Bundle. And they go for a Terra Blast. This is best case scenario. The other thing as well is, like, you know, Primarina can always tank a Freeze Dry, which is obviously very nice. So I was like, okay, I can always tank a Freeze Dry pretty well, especially because it is not Terra Ice like I was afraid of. And it was Terra Water. I think I was worried about Terra Ice and Terra Ground in this matchup, but thankfully it was neither. We're going to see a Flip Turn here, so we've seen Terra Blast and Flip Turn. Just a little bit of damage to Primarina, which makes sense. We go for a Moonblast here, because my opponent has no Moonblast switch in, which is very nice. So Siren's going to do a lot of damage against whatever wants to switch in here. And it's going to be Yadaman. That's going to be none other than the Slowking, which I am more than happy with. So we're going to get a decent chunk of damage off into the Slowking, lowering the special attack as well, which I very much like. Now, I'm like, at this point, I'm just kind of like, well, I have the Assault Vest. You know, this thing could be going for Paralyses, but I don't think it will. I think it's most likely either going to try to go for a hit, or it's going to try to pivot out. So I'm just going to get some HP recovery while I can and go for a Drain Kiss. Very glad I did that. We get a lot of HP back, which is very, very nice. And we're going to see a Chilly Reception. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That makes me scared of things like the Zapdos coming in. It makes me scared of Treads. It could be the Ogerpon. You know, well, actually, probably not Ogerpon, because the nice thing is, we also discovered that Slowking is Boots. We discovered that Slowking is Boots as well, and also, if Ogerpon had swapped in here, it would have broken Sturdy. So we're going to see the Pointed Stones dig into the Iron Treads, which makes sense. So now I think about, okay, they're probably going to go for a Rapid Spin. Now, do I want to stay in, or do I want to, like, risk Primarina taking damage? Like, how do I want to handle this, basically? I could go for a Draining Kiss, predicting that play. They could be going for, like, a Volt Switch or something like that, which I'm not a big fan of. The problem with Draining Kiss as well is that static Zapdos exists, and that is very scary, and I don't want to deal with that. Surf looks pretty good into my opponent's team in general, aside from the Slowking, and even against Bundle, it still will be a decent chunk. Crocodile's always a safe switch here, so I can also do that. Even if they Rapid Spin, that's fine. I can just pick up the KO next turn, and then go for Rocks the next turn if I really want to. And eventually, that is what I end up deciding to do. I go into the Crocodile, so that way I can hopefully either, you know, like pick up a KO, knock off an item, do some other shenanigans, and things like that. So we're going to see Crooked hit the field with our Covert Cloak as well, so that way we can't get, like, defenses lowered or, like, poisoned from a rogue move or something like that. This is a switch in for Overquill. The Barbarage Overquill is what this was a switch into. We do see that they go for a Rapid Spin and they get rid of the Rocks, which is unfortunate. However, Rocks really put in a number against my opponent's team because even though it didn't chip a lot of Pokemon, A, it KO'd Dragonite, B, it told me that 2 Pokemon had heavy-duty boots in this game, which is extremely useful information. We do eventually pick up the kill on this Treads, which is obviously very nice. And we do take a decent amount of damage in return, which is not fun. We see that the item was Shuka Berry, which I really like here. I think that makes a lot of sense. We could have seen it be Body Press as well, but thankfully it wasn't. Thankfully it was not the Body Press set. We're gonna see Mudkip Fan come back in. Now, this is Bundle. Bundle scares me. Obviously, I don't really have that safe a switch in for Bundle. Aside from like Terra Dragon, HYDRAPPLE, but it's not Terra Dragon yet. Now, because I swapped in Primarina last time this Pokemon was on the field, I think that they're going to go for a Freeze Dry here. So I'm like, okay, I'm predicting a Freeze Dry here. I'm going to go into my Steel type on that play, and thankfully, they do go for a Freeze Dry here. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, thankfully we don't get frozen as well, which is very nice. And, yeah, I believe here, if I remember correctly, this is where my audio comes back and all that fun stuff. Just in case, I will go ahead and, say my next turn here, I click Thunderbolt. Just because of the fact that Iron Treads is gone now, I don't need to collect Magnet Rise ever, and Thunderbolt is just a very free KO here, and yeah, this should be back to the regular commentary. Just in case it's not back to the regular commentary, I'm going to go ahead and say that my opponent goes for a Flip Turn. I can't remember, I know I have Magnezone out on the field when it was, like, the commentary came back, so we'll figure it out. If there's an awkward cut, I apologize. But we see that they go for a Flip Turn, which makes sense. As I go for a Thunderbolt here, Thunderbolt, bada bing, bada boom, is going to end up going into Zapdos, as we'll soon see in a second. Just because, yeah, again, like, Iron Treads didn't want to switch in on this, or because it's dead. Nothing else really wanted to switch in on it either, not even Ogerpon, especially if I went for a Flash Cannon. But Thunderbolt is the play, and it does half to Zapdos, which is insane. You can see my reaction there in the corner as well, which is pretty cool. And now I'm like, okay, I can go for a Flash Cannon, predicting the Ogerpon, but I don't really need to do that. Once Sturdy is broken, then we're kind of chilling. So I'm just going to go for another Thunderbolt and, you know, get that analytic boost and all that fun stuff. And, yes, this is where it comes back in. This is where it comes back in, I'm pretty sure. Because I'm debating about Flash Cannon or Thunderbolt, and I end up clicking Thunderbolt instead. So, yes, that is very cool indeed. And actually, you know what? Yeah, I remember now. It's because Iron Bundle will come back in here. We get our Citrus Berry off, which is very nice. And I guess a little bit of a spoilers for you as well. We are going to go for the Thunderbolt, and it is going to pick up the kill on Zapdos. Massive, massive hit for me. Magnezone is such a beast. It is insane. Analytic Magnezone is such an OP Pokemon. It's wild, as I've just learned. Being able to two-shot a Zapdos like that is crazy work. We're going to see the bundle come back in, and now is when I start debating about, okay, do I want to go for a Flash Cannon, predicting a switch into Ogerpon, like Flip Turn into Ogerpon on the off chance that I live. Like, how do I want to handle this? I don't know. I literally said I don't know in the recording, which is very funny. But that's kind of what I'm debating at this point. And then this is around the time that my audio should be coming back on here in a second, because I'm like, okay, do I want to go Flash Cannon or Thunderbolt? And yeah, there we go. Okay, perfect. So back to the commentary. I just realized my microphone was muted. Okay, so basically I'm predicting Flash Cannon because I want to try and catch a Flip Turn. If they go for it, I think I'm going to Flash Cannon here. We are just going to see a Terra Blast. I think this will kill. That's my assumption anyways. Boom. Does it kill? Oh my gosh, it kills. That's crazy. Okay, so. I think this might be HYDRAPPLE time. Because I will nuke this thing with a Leaf Storm and then eject pack out. They could go for a flip turn here. That's fine. I'm okay with that. They will never kill me with an Ice Beam because if I Terra Dragon, yep, they never kill me. So I think, and with the eject pack as well, I get a free swap. So this puts me in a really great position. Runners and Worms, here we go. Alrighty, Terra, obviously, Leaf Storm. Here we go. We land these, baby. We land these. Alright, I guess I could have clicked Draco as well, but it honestly doesn't really matter here. We are going to go for the Terra Dragon. Bada bing, bada boom. This isn't a risk-free play, obviously, but I think it will go well. Let's see what they do. They go for Flip. Okay. That's fine. We're going to get a big chunk of damage on something, which is great. I am more than happy with this. This is very okay. So, we still have Prim in the back that can take a hit from Iron Bundle. If Ogerpon comes in here, this is pretty massive. Where does he die at tight? That's going to be... Oh, yeah, that's Corner Pawn. Okay, that's Corner Pawn. So, we're going to fire up a Leaf Storm of massive, massive hits. Let's go. Alright, I'm very okay with that. So, yeah, we're going to switch out here with the Eject Pack, get that HP recovery back up, which is great, and then we'll be able to freely switch in once Crook goes down, which is awesome. Bada bing, bada boom. Crooked! I will go ahead and punish a Swords Dance play here, because I think that's very valuable. So I will go ahead and click Knock. Knock punishes literally everything. I think they're just going to go for a Cudgel. That would be my, or well, not Horn Leech. Power Whip. Imagine if they missed that Power Whip, dude. That would be crazy. But here I can just fire off a Fickle Beam. I don't think Fickle Beam can miss. Can Fickle Beam miss? I'm going to look this up now. It does not miss. We do not miss these, so that is great. I am okay with this. We're going to send in Worms here. Bada bing, bada boom. Alrighty, and now we go for a Fickle Beam every single time. Bada bing, bada boom. We're going to see a Knock. That's fine. We are itemless now, which is great. That's another reason why I ran Eject Pack, specifically for that situation. We fire this off. Boom. Kills. Great. Okay. So, now here's the interesting situation. Most likely Bundle's going to come back in. We could see... Oh, this is Slowking. Okay. So Slowking comes back in. And you are Boots as well. You're probably going to go for a Chili. I think that's what you're going to go for here. Can I punish this, I wonder? Slowking... Because Leaf Storm still does a lot of damage to you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for a sub. I'm going to go for a sub here. I want to see what you do. I want to see what you do here. I want to see if you go for Chili. We're going to see a Future Sight. Okay. Interesting. Okay. That's actually a really smart play. Do I Leaf Storm here then? A Leaf Storm punishes... I think what I'm going to do... I want this thing chipped down a little bit first before I do that. I'm going to Fickle Beam. I'm going to Fickle Beam here just to be safe. Bada bing, bada boom. And also, I just want guaranteed chip. Let's go. Boom! Decent chunk of damage. Okay, this, we know it's Boots. We're gonna see a Slack Off. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. We're just gonna fire off a Fickle Beam again. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fire off a Fickle Beam again. Bada bing, bada boom. Fickle Beam. Badushkis. Will Future Sight break? It will break the sub, unfortunately. It will break the sub, but I don't think a Freeze Drive will break. I don't think a Freeze Drive will kill me, which would be pretty awesome if that was the case. And so we've seen Future Sight, we've seen Slack Off, we've seen Chilly Reception. It might just be Future Sight that they have. That might be the only move that they have. We're gonna see this Pokemon come in, that makes sense. We're gonna take the Future Sight, unfortunate, unfortunate. Alright, took damage for Worms. Okay, this is going to come down to... Okay. Oh god. How do I want to play this? I think Prim can win, but I need this thing gone. I think I have to Leaf Storm and hope they don't go for Ice Beam. We're gonna see a flip. Wow, okay. This is fine. I'm okay with this then. Because this Slowking is going to come in, it's going to take a lot of damage, and then I can freely switch in my Prim. This is fine. I'm okay with this. I'm actually very okay with this. This is a winning... This is a fine scenario for me. I'm okay with this. We're gonna fire off a Leaf Storm here. Bada bing, bada boom. Does a lot of damage, which is great. We're probably gonna see a slack off here. I'm gonna go ahead and switch into Siren for free. This is a very free swap for me. The last move could be Psychic Noise. If it is Psychic Noise, well on you. But I think if it's not Psychic Noise, I think we 1v1 this. I do think we 1v1 this, actually. We're gonna see slack off, obviously. I'm gonna fire off a Draining Kiss. Yeah, I'm gonna fire off a Draining Kiss. I don't care. I'm gonna get some HP recovery here. Boom. Nice. Let's see what you want to go for here. Let's see what you want to go for here. We're gonna see Future Sight. Yep, that makes sense. Okay. I think we'll go ahead, go for Moonblast. Future Sight is really nice tech, but ultimately it's not gonna save my opponent here, which is great. We're gonna see another Attack Drop, which is great. We're gonna see a Scald. That's fine. I'm okay with that. The Burn I'm not okay with. The Burn I'm not as much okay with. So stopped. We're probably going to see a Chili here. No, they can't go for Chili because... Yeah, this puts them in a stalemate, actually. This puts them in a stalemate. They're forced to just click Slack Off until they die. So I think here what I do, I think I'm just going to click Moonblast again, right? Maybe High Roll. I could High Roll here, which would be great. Moonblast, boom. Alright, no High Roll. Interesting, they swap. Okay. Are they going to... They're going to try to get HP recovery. Yes, they're going to try to get HP recovery. That's what they're going to try to do. But this is still an okay scenario, I think. I'm still okay with this. I'm still okay with this. Because we're still not in range of a Freeze Dry. And now we can't be frozen, which is great. Yeah, we're not in range of a Freeze Dry still. I'm going to click Moonblast to catch a Slowking on a switch. Yeah, we're going to see a flip turn here. We're going to catch a Slowking. Oh, this is interesting. This is going to be a very interesting game. This is going to be a very, very interesting end game here. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. The burn here really sucks. I won't lie to y'all. The burn here is really unfortunate. Alright, we're going to Moonblast here. Boom. Okay. So they have to hard swap here if they want to save this Pokemon. And I don't think they're going to let that happen. I'm going to go ahead and fire off a Moonblast here. Yeah, if the burn didn't happen, I would have won this game guaranteed. So it's going to come down to whether or not HYDRAPPLE can live a hit. No, HYDRAPPLE can always live a hit because of regen. Okay. Oh god, this is going to be close. This is going to be so close, dude. This is going to be so close, man. Moonblast always kills. Slowking goes down. Alright, it's HYDRAPPLE versus Iron Bundle. And Iron Bundle is Boots. We know the item. Leaf Storm will always kill. Oh, it's going to come down to luck. And I don't like that, but it is what it is. It's going to come down to luck. And Sag. Very sad times. We're going to Moonblast here every single time. If we're going to see a Freeze Dry, that makes sense. Boom. Yep, that always kills. We go into HYDRAPPLE, we click Leaf Storm, and we land the Leaf Storms. That's what's going to happen here. We land these Leaf Storms. Alright. It all comes down to this, baby. Let's go! Whew! Freeze Dry pops off. Okay. Yes! Let's go! Terra HYDRAPPLE with the clutch! Let's go! What an intense game, dude. Holy! 1-0 victory for ya, boy. Let's freaking go. I think it would have been, legitimately, I think it would have been a 2-0 if it wasn't for the burn on Primarina. But at that point, I possibly could have gotten the freeze from Freeze Dry. So, you know, ultimately, whoo, boy, that was in my favor. It was in my favor. But, that being said, there was still percentages and rolls that could have happened, and that would have been brutal. So, GG's to my opponent, really, really well played. The Dragonite lead made a lot of sense, just immediately break stuff. The Treads being, I think if I'd gotten a slightly better roll on Treads with the close combat, that would have also very much changed the game. Sorry. The fact that I got that much damage off immediately was pretty awesome. I do wish Lycanroc did a little bit more, but I immediately threatened that with Accelerock. Like, it prevented me from straight up losing the game to Dragonite, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. And I don't really regret any of the plays that I made, I don't think, which is great. My opponent played really, really well, which is why it became such a close game. I think there are some things that I could have done a bit better. Maybe I could have made a better prediction of some kind, but overall, I really, really like how I played this game. Definitely feeling much better with the team now. I'm very excited about it. We pick up a dub to make up for last week. Well, kind of make up for last week, not really, because obviously we still have to worry about differential, but still, very, very excited about this team. I'm really liking it already. HYDRAPPLE, my goat. And, yeah, I guess without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for watching. I really, really hope you all enjoyed this battle as much as I did. This was so much fun. I really loved it a lot. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace out, mates!